So continuing our area and perimeter review, now we are on to circles. So again, the area is the amount of space inside the shape's outline, and we're trying to figure out how many little squares there are. Now with circles, it's especially weird because some of these squares are not full squares and they're kind of cut off, and it's a little bit strange. The formula you would have been given in previous years is area is equal to pi r squared, and I did a really bad pi there. Let's try that again. Pi, that's a little better. Pi r squared, where this value of pi, remember that's an irrational number. It's a number that never ends. It doesn't have a repeating decimal. It keeps on changing its pattern. So it's 3.1415629. I never remember any more digits past 3.14. Let's go with 3.14. So when you're doing these calculations, especially in grade 8 and 9, you can use 3.14. As you move into high school and you get a fancier calculator that lets you hold more digits and it lets you type in equations a little bit differently, you'll need to be more exact and use a pi button. But for our purposes in grade 8 and grade 9, just use 3.14. Now, we are given, in this case, two different dimensions. The one in blue is what we call the radius, and the radius always goes from the middle of the circle to the outside of the circle. The other dimension I'm given there, that 10 in green, this is what we call the diameter. And the diameter is the distance across the circle from one side to the other, and it also cuts through the middle of the circle there. So notice the radius is 5 and it goes from the center to the outside. The diameter happens to be 2 times bigger because this radius is 5 and this radius is also 5. So in total it's 10 going all the way across. So the diameter is always 2 times bigger than the radius. We could also say the radius is always half as big as the diameter. Our formula calls for the radius, pi times the radius squared. So the radius here is 5. So I'm going to put in the radius of 5, and it's 3.14 times 5 squared. Now remember BEDMAS, order of operations, tells me I must do my exponents before my multiplication. So this is going to be, I still have this 3.14, and then I'm going to multiply by 5 times 5, because 5 squared means 5 times 5. Is 25. So I need to do that exponent first, okay? And 3.14 times 25 gives us an answer of 78.5 centimeters squared. So remember area, centimeters squared. Now for your circumference, we've got two different formulas. Oh, sorry, it says perimeter. I should write circumference. Circumference really does mean perimeter. It means going around the outside of a circle. Circle is the only one that has a circumference. It gets a special perimeter. Okay. Now to find the circumference, we've got two formulas we can use. So the circumference is either pi times the diameter, or you might be given 2 times pi times the radius, okay? Both formulas will give you the exact same answer. It really does not matter which one you use. And if we think about it, the radius is always half as big as the diameter. And if I take 2 times the radius, I get the diameter. So if I put in 10 for my diameter, it's the same thing as going 2 times 5. I still get 10. So it does not matter which one you do. My recommendation is, if you are given the diameter, use the diameter and go 3.14 times 10 to get a circumference of 31.4 centimeters. If you are given the radius, use the radius, and I go 2 times 3.14 times 5. 2 times 3.14 is 6.28, and 6.28 times 5 also gives 31.4. So it does not matter which one you use, both will work. My recommendation is, if you're given the diameter, use it with this formula. If you were given the radius originally, use it with this formula. If you're given both, pick your favorite. And there's circles.